Monday Live. It is my pleasure, as always, to be with you on a Monday evening and for us to be talking about what it means to be building a nation. And we were talking about the wonders of Neem, just as we had talked about moringa and many other plants. And we want to continue that discussion and particularly talk about why we need our land and why do we need to plant our land. What is it about our relationship with the land? We have, I think, if we think back to our discussion with Baba Roy when he was here with us and talking about that historical, he gives us that whole historical timeline, and our relationship with land was very significant in that discussion. So it's only timely that we reiterate that as we're talking about the particular plants that we want to be growing and that are beneficial to us personally in terms of our well-being, our health, but also in terms of our mission of nation building, our capacity to earn income. We need to see that that relationship has been beneficial to us for generations. And it is that consciousness that we want to get back to. So we have the same panel again with us tonight. And again, we're going to keep the discussion lively and very informative. So I want to welcome, of course, my co-host Marley. Good night, Wigwion, welcome. And then we have Dr. Arzu and Nana Mensah, who is an expert in his own right as it relates to Neem, but also as it relates to farming and planting and, agriculture. So good night, everybody, and welcome to Monday Live.
Happy to be here.
So Nana, I want to, build on what we were talking about last week, because you were giving us a lot of the technical stuff, right? So for people who might now be feeling moved, inspired, especially by the kind of discussion that we've been having these past weeks, and want to, whether they have already access to land because they've inherited from their family or they are acquiring land themselves, they want to get into farming. What's the first thing to do in terms of preparation? You want to grow, because we would go into, yes, how to grow the neem and how to grow moringa and how to grow all the other things, but what to do with the land? You have these acres of land, maybe your family has not been using the land for some years. What to do?
Well, the fathers that we came from the land, and from the land we shall go to.
Yes.
So whatever is found on land, we have to make use of it once we are alive, to make sure that it will always be here, rotate, going around, but we will not be here. Only our future generation will be here to enjoy what we have to put up today. And this is what we need to fight for. As at this moment, everybody is aware of what is going on in Scotland, climate change.
Mm-hmm.
So if this be the issue, and we have to plant things and the land and issues like that, but first and foremost, whenever you want to plant something, first you should know where you are going to plant and the characteristics of the place. Is it rocky, bushy? Does it have too many trees? Most of the time people will tell you, don't cut down your trees. How are you not going to cut down your trees once you want to plant something? What you need. So you should know how to do it. Many people will also want to go into cattle. And they want to cut down all the trees. You should know how to do it. So if you have land, first and foremost, what we say is that you clear it and you plan it out, how you are going to do it. Where am I going to put my house? Is it suitable? Where am I going to put specific type of fruit trees, medicinal trees? Is it suitable? And all plants are not the same. We have plants which would like places which have a lot of water. Then we have plants who doesn't want too much water, and we have plants who want sunny soil. So I have to look into my area and see what can I plant at specific place of the land that I have. If I know that it is I can't spend money to kind of drain out the water which is there, then I will have to put in plants which will be suitable for that condition. And this is the way that you do. So in terms of something like neem, it is a very rough tree, to put it that way, and it can stand any rough condition. So not too much, not a rocky place, of course, but you can have stones within it, and you can have other type of soil around it, and it will do well. And also, whenever you have your land and you are designing your house, you are designing or planning out the land that you have. You have to make sure that whatever you put, it should be beneficial to yourself. Now you make me to use my Rotarian term. Is it beneficial to all? So the fact is that you have to basically, if I like, people who do landscaping, and if I'm going to do a landscaping on my land, I have to make sure that the plant that I'm putting there can benefit me in my kitchen, because your kitchen determine what you need to plant. If I know this is what I need for my kitchen, this is what I'm going to cook, then this is what I'm going to do. If I'm going to use tomatoes in my kitchen, then the seeds that I will get from my kitchen are the seeds I'm going to plant out. So that I don't need to go for GMO seeds. I don't need to go seeds that I can reproduce. Not seed that I planted one and that will be the end of it, just to make somebody rich out of it.
Yes.
You know, so basically once you lay off, and also we found out that especially places like when people are making farms and stuff, that they forget even where to put their tools. All these things should come part within your farming and the plan that you lay out. And if we are talking about schools, for instance, that have to have specific type of trees around the school, which some of them will be like the neem or any other type of plant, we have to know where we will put it so that it will not destroy the building, or where do we need to put it that will give us shade. And also, we also have to make sure that classrooms are not meant for tools. And these are some of the things that you see in some schools where you walk around. You go into the classroom, in the corner, you see a rake, a hoe, a matuk. When somebody gets angry with other, what would they do? They may end up using it against one person. So these are some of the things that we always, when we talk about the land that we have, not only that what we are going to plant, but also what we are going to use, where are we going to put them? And just like this question is based on preparation of your land, and also based on the Neem and other issues, I'll make it more. So yeah, last week we talked about things. Maybe some people had some questions. We know we had some questions which were not, doctor wasn't, it was not enough for doctor. So let me say today we'll try to make it open. If some of the audience have questions or something that is still on their mind that they can't talk about it, or they were not able to bring it forward today, we are open. And that will make us to help people, give them answers to solve their questions that they have or solve problems that they are encountering. And last in Bemopan, I found out that one of our own, Catherine Mendes, have a big neem tree in her house. So anybody who is in Bemopan, if you need seeds from neem, please go to Catherine Mendes' house. If you need, she has abundance of that.
She did say it in the comments that she had a huge tree indeed.
So I think
now,
Doctor and I will be there to see what questions people have. We know the other time people brought questions about high blood pressure and stuff like that. We are waiting for what other questions will come. And sometimes actually the last time, Doctor, I didn't want to talk about it much. And that is why I said your food will be what you need to do to control high blood pressure and issues like that. And that is why most of the time we tell people that you don't take in too much of salt, because you have to do away with the sodium. And as doctor said, the neem will also clean your blood and stuff like that. So today we are open for questions, because we can talk about other things which may not be of importance to other people, or we cannot touch some points which may not oh my God, my rotarian will not be beneficial to other people. So today I would say we are open for questions and to help our people. You can also plant, because Neem will take years to grow. And if that is what you are going to do, you can also learn from doctor and prepare maybe your own capsules and find a market for them and ship your Neem capsules to wherever it may be needed with the necessary certification, of course. And if possible in Belize, it will be accepted. Then we see how best the pharmaceutical industry will give permission for people to package when it passes through the correct channels with all regulations in place to be able to sell their products here. There are many people, tourists, who come down to buy products from us that we may not know. And maybe this Neem can be one of them. When tourists come and they see that you are selling Neem oil and you're able to tell them the use of Neem oil, definitely they are going to buy from it. And this is a way you create market for yourself. And if you are sick, you can take the Neem. You don't need to spend the little money you have to go and buy medications that you cannot acquire to buy or you cannot afford to buy. So these are some of the things that we would like to share with people so that you'll be able to reduce your stress, economical stress. And this is the way that I will put it. We are open for questions. We are able to share ideas. And this is what we are here for, to help brothers and sisters.
Nana, for those persons who might not be familiar with you, tell our audience a little bit about you. People might want to know what makes him so special, what makes him an expert in all of this. So
I just wanted to say he's a beautiful Black man. What else do you need? Is that why he has to explain himself? Anyway, sorry, I just had to put in my 2 cents. Marley,
he have a lot. Nana have a lot to share, and
yes,
I believe he need to say a little more about himself from him, not us.
Well,
let him speak for himself.
You want to hear about? Many people know me as at UB as construction lecturer. Many people know me at UB as chemistry lecturer. Many people know me at UB as Spanish lecturer. And in high school, they know me as integrated science teacher. And in the NGO community, I'm known as a trainer.
Okay.
and what will I say? And now in the private sector, I'm known as a hotel manager or something like that.
Okay.
No, this is an international show.
Nana, you wear many hats.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
you know, we are pleased that you are willing to share, because that is the thing, right? We want to build our nation and we want to convince our people, especially the young, to get back into farming. And we agreed there's been a gap in terms of information transfer from one generation to the other. So we're trying to fill that gap, and we're glad that we have this space to do it. And that we have people like you that can come on to talk with us about what you know and share that information. So some of this we would have only learned if we were going to farm with our grandparents or if we went to agriculture school. Now, not everybody is going to agriculture school, and not everybody has their grandparents to go with to the farm anymore. So it is very valuable, and we appreciate it that you can share this knowledge with us. And that's why I started with the basic of, preparing a land, and I like what you said about knowing what it is that you want in your kitchen, because yes, that's common sense, like, right? People want to think, let's grow commercially, right? But a starving entrepreneur is not going to be successful, right? You have to be thinking about your stomach first. So it makes sense. You grow for you, and then of course, so you make room to grow for you, for your household. And then you also then make room and prepare to grow commercially. And you have to think, now what's out there, what's needed, what's on demand, what's in demand. Because if we're not smart about it, then we end up saturating the market with certain things, and then we end up with a scarcity of other things. So this is the next thing about nation building and being organized about it, that we're not just haphazardly now going about and guessing our way. this is why we talk. This is why we're organized. This is why we have our people come to us and share and say, this is what I have. Now, what can I do with it? Because if we're planning in that way, we have our hubs in different areas, then we know, okay, maybe you go to Georgetown hub, it's a farming hub. So there's going to be a lot more in terms of nursery, seedlings, guidance on how to set up your plantation and things like that happening there. While, for example, if you look at the Belmopan hub, you might have more finished products at the Belmopan hub. So even though you might have some of the raw products coming from the farm, because there are farms in the Belmopan area as well, you're more likely to get finished products in Belmopan because it's an urban hub, you know. So that's the difference with what we're doing. It's more organized. It's a lot more planning that's going into what we're doing. And the more people know and understand this, then the more prepared they themselves can be to do something excellent, something grand, something beautiful, and not just for now, but for future generations. So I'm actually quite excited about it, because, you know, each time you all talk about certain plants, I'm like, yes, so check, that's going to be on the farm. Check, this one is going to be on the farm. But when you talk about what's in my kitchen, how would I know that the tomatoes, for example, that those seeds can grow? What do I do to check that? Because they're not telling us that some of the stuff we're getting are genetically modified. They are not telling us that. So how would I know the sweet pepper seeds, I can plant those, the orange seeds, whether or not I can plant those, the tomato seeds? What am I going to look out for?
Well,
and is it, Nana, I just wanted to stick in there. And is it true that when man consumes seedless fruits, he too goes seedless? Just a question to put out there. I'm just asking, sir. I'm just asking.
Interesting one.
Just to put on top of Aoife's question.
well, that will be your mind. Your mind will be that way, but not physiologically.
Okay.
If I may throw in something here. Nana, you mentioned the neem grow in different terrain, whether it's sunny, rocky, whatever soil. But is it wise enough to alter your terrain, maybe like dig a drain, or is it better to plant the tree that would grow best in that area instead of tampering with the soil?
Well, the fact is that you will grow what will grow best in your soil. Sometimes when you tamper with the soil, you create more problem for yourself. Why do I say that? We do have certain level of soil content within the soil that if you go and dig it and mix it up, then you mix up the whole thing. Then you make the instead of soil which was not purely salty become salty. So nothing will grow. So what I would say is that, and also it will make you spend too much money to solve the problem you have created. Let me put example. And don't take it bad.
No, we're learning.
We used to be in Hopkins by the beach. Then we saw the beach and we went into the swamp. So what you were harvesting by the beach side is not what you are going to harvest in the swamp, but you are used to what you used to harvest by the sea. And you cannot have that in the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Different terrain. The consistency of the soil is different. The kind of nutrients that are in the soil at that freshwater location is different from what would be in the salty location.
Yeah, it's just like in the early 60s and stuff, we complain about Toledo, that sugarcane was not going to be good, it won't be sweet because too much water. Or what we were supposed to do was to dig a drain. It's just like the banana plantations. There is too much water, so what do? They dig drain to channel the water into the creek switch over there and flow into the sea. And the same way you can do, only that it will cost us a little bit, but that is where we are, and this is what we need. So if where you are and what you need it, then you have to create a condition for that to happen and for that to grow.
Yes. But as much as possible, your advice is that we make the best of, I mean, you pay attention to what's there and make use of what's there. So altering as minimum as possible. Avoid
Definitely.
altering nature as much as possible.
Yeah, you know, the fact is that, and this is the same thing which is happening nowadays. We go and destroy areas of the habitat of the ecosystem. Then at the end, they don't have, because we have destroyed their habitat, what do? They come to our house.
Yes.
Then we become angry.
Mhm.
Then we are
Yes.
worried. It's because we
Yes.
tamper with what we're not supposed, the way we're
Mhm.
supposed to tamper with.
But you didn't answer my question, and I wanted to know, how would I
That's
know
right.
if the tomato in my kitchen or the sweet pepper in my kitchen can grow?
Okay, the fathers, and we have varieties of plants,
Mhm.
and we also have what is considered to be organic and non-organic. Many people go, like in Toledo, we have a man by the name Button Callis. Everything that Button Callis grow on his farm is organic.
Mhm.
So whatever I buy from Button Callis, I can replant it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if I go to Spanish Lookout, what I may buy from there and I grow may not grow back because of being a hybrid.
Mm.
It depends where the source of your product comes from. Where you get it from will determine if it is good to plant back or not.
Mhm.
For instance, tomatoes. The best tomatoes you can ever think about is the cherry tomatoes.
The little
That is
tiny
the
one.
mother. That is the mother of all tomatoes. The big ones you see, you may think they are hybrid from the little one, which is the cherry tomatoes.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay.
And if you watch, cherry tomatoes grow almost in every condition that you put it, because it is resistant to fungal diseases as well as bacteria and stuff like that, and different type of insects, and it doesn't harm it much.
I had one right in the yard. I must have gotten at least a dozen tomatoes off of it. But then the plant died. You have any idea why that occurred? Is that how it goes? Like once you harvest from it, then it dies?
And she
It
didn't have a
was
neem
def-
tree.
Everything has its amount of years that it needs to, but in some cases they can go more than what we expect. There must be that there was too much water.
Yes.
There was too much water, and that will make it to die when it was not supposed to. So all depends on the soil you have around, the condition you were giving it. You might have given it too much love of too much water, and that might have killed it. Because they said
nature did it. Nature did it. It rained and
too
the
much.
yard flooded. The yard flooded. So I've lost 2 papayas because of that. I know they were growing really well, and once the rain came and they were just sitting in the water like that, because there's no drain, and so getting rid of the water out of the yard was difficult. I depended on the sunshine to do that. And by the time that happened, the papaya was like, I'm not having this, and it died.
Okay,
So I think that's what affected the tomatoes too.
Definitely. And they said if you see a house which has plantain and sugarcane, then you know a Garifuna lives there. So next time when you see too much water in that area, please plant plantain, cocoyam, or sugarcane. They will do great.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
But don't put cassava there because it will go rotten.
All right.
Nana, we have a case in one of the Wachari farmers in the early days. I think, well, you were with us, of course, where he filled his farm. He actually drained his farm and then filled it with material so that we could plant. And it was so wrong because his land was perfect for rice. Right?
Ooh.
Isn't there some waterlogged land that's perfect for rice and other crops that actually give food? So you don't have to drain your land or dig ditches.
Yeah, that's why I said, first look at your land and see what it is suitable for. Once you know your land is too much water sorted, and then you have to look for crops or plants which are adapted to that type of condition. But if you go and plant something else, then definitely you are going to create trouble for the plant you are putting there. And also, if you temper too much of it, it's going to cost you, or you may create troubles that you don't want to have at hand.
I see a lot of wild cane on my land. There's a lot of wild cane there, and I do see some coconut trees. I think that area was used as a farm before, but now it's overgrown, right? And so what's there is a lot of wild cane, and what that the trumpet tree? That's the trumpet tree. I see a lot of that there as well.
Well, the first, once you have trumpet tree, that means you are attracting a lot of parrots.
I'm attracting a lot of
parrot birds.
Parrots.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And the fact is that the wild cane you are talking about, it depends on how you chop it. If you chop it wrongly, it will multiply a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Please tell me more about that. Please tell me more about that. What's the correct way to cut it?
The fact is that it's like a cane. You know, it's like sugar cane. When you cut it and leave it there, what will happen? The roots will go down and all start sprockling up.
Okay.
So you cut them long and move them away. But if you cut them into pieces, each piece you cut and leave there is going to produce about 10 plants for you.
Wow. Every day we learn, right? That is good information. Thank you so much for that. What I want to explore is how to use it. Like if I could actually use some of that wild cane to maybe build something, build a shed, build a nursery, build something with it. But I know I definitely will take your advice in terms of removing them, the cut ones from the area so they don't grow back, because that's more wild cane. All right, that's great to know.
Well, definitely. In terms of how to use it, you must find there must be some ruminants who will love it. In terms of it must produce more than 14% of carbohydrate for other type of animal.
Okay, explain that.
There, you know, it is a gramínea plant, which means it produces a lot of carbohydrates. So it's like human being, we have to balance our diet. And so the animals, if we give them too much of a carbohydrate, they will not grow the way we want them to grow. Yes. So you have to mix some protein within it. And that will be the leguminous, like things like beans and the wild cane together will give them high percentage of protein and high percentage of carbohydrate.
Okay. All right.
Yes, then.
See, we live and we learn. This is why it's good to have people with expertise to talk to and to get guidance from. And I hope that eventually we can get some farmers on the show too, to tell us a bit more of their experience, because I think you had mentioned that in your discussion last week about getting, talking to other farmers and seeing what they have gone through or what they have experienced. They would be able to tell you, all right, this works and this doesn't work. Or they might be familiar with an area and familiar with how that land operates. Especially old farmers could tell you a lot about the land that you might be working. And so, again, you see, when you're talking nation building, it's not individualistic either, because people have to share with each other. They share knowledge and they share expertise, and then they also do the work together. A lot of times, planting was done collectively, right? And people knew, okay, this is what grows well in this area, and this is what grows well over here. And if you needed guidance, if you needed seeds, if you needed cuttings, whatever, then, people shared like that. That's how we were. That's the kind of life we lived.
Yeah, that is the way we were until 1971, we stopped using coconut oil.
Imagine.
We fell for it. We believed the lie. We believed the lie. Yeah, we fell for it.
And they like to come and lie to us,
The fact is that The fact is that after the Second World War, they didn't know what to use DDT for because they used to use it to kill people. Now they say after the Second War, they say it's not good. They say, oh, let's use it for agriculture.
Well, they had extra.
Not used to it, then we accepted it. Now, when the agro-business came about, they wanted to make money. And because our coconut oil was good, they came and told us that we should use vegetable oil, corn oil, and forget about the coconut. And now they are telling us coconut oil is the best. Then we are running back after we have dealt with all the plants.
Yeah, but now we've accumulated enough DDT in our systems to produce just every possible illness we could produce to make the pharmaceutical industry very wealthy, which is why it's important for us to grow the medicinal plants and cleanse ourselves.
Yes.
And never fall for that stupidity again. We're not stupid anymore. We don't have to believe that.
Yeah. And we're not ignorant. We're not
No.
ignorant. We don't need to be ignorant. Because again, of discussions like this and what we're trying to do with Wachari and having the hubs is so that, again, that information continues to be available and people can get the guidance that they need. All right. So, all right. So going back to the planting and looking at what we are growing in our kitchen. So of course, making room for the things that we consume, right? Our plantains and our green bananas and our cassava, our sweet potatoes, those are things that are important to us. They're a part of our cuisine as Garinago. But there are, of course, other things that we need to be including. So like the tomatoes and the okra, right? Having those, having how much space would you say one should set aside for the vegetables that you want to grow to consume?
Well, the fact is that everybody, if you have an acre, I would say divide it into 4. Use one part of that's where your house will be, the other part for fruit trees, the other part for vegetables, and the other side for animals, which will create manure for your garden. And one thing also we have to know is that most of the things from your kitchen that you throw away, and let's go back to our ancestors. What they used to do was that they knew that when you eat fish or you eat any animal, the bones will give you specific type of nutrients, but they could not tell us what nutrients were. So they always used to go and put it there and plant on it because they knew the plant was going to extract the nutrients from the bone. And this is the way we have to know that whatever we use in our kitchen, especially like as people will tell you, banana peels, people will throw it away. This is a very good source of compost, which you can cut them into pieces and you can make liquid fertilizer, not fertilizer, liquid manure, like cut it into pieces, put it in something like a mesh, and just put it into water for about 3 days. All the nutrients will come out and you can pour it around your plant and you get the necessary nutrients that you need. You also said with the area that you need. Most of the time, if we want to plant and we want to save money, not to use too much manure, it depends on the system that we plant. If I plant corn today, that is what we call crop rotation. But there are some things that the agronomists will not tell you because they want money from you. But I will tell you the secret. The fact that if you plant corn today, and within the soil, the corn will extract all the macro elements, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium. Now, when they extract them, phosphorus is an element which moves very slow within the soil. So when they try to extract it, they don't take it much. It comes up and remain. The only thing that goes away is the potassium and the nitrogen. So after you harvest, you cut back into the waste, the debris and the waste product, you mix it back to the soil. You incorporate potassium back into the soil, and already what is there? The phosphorus is there. So what you need is that your next time, then you plant the beans, and the beans will fix the nitrogen within it. So you don't need to put in too much compost or to go and buy fertilizer, but you already have the 3 macro elements within the soil that will make your next plant grow. And chicken manure is one of the manures which have high percentage of nitrogen, more than cow and horse.
Wow.
But the problem with the cow manure, the cow dung or cow manure, is that the animals assimilate a lot of seeds. So when you use cow manure, you get a lot of weeds within your farm. So you have a lot of work to do. But if you use chicken, rabbit, and a horse, and horse, it's kind of less than the cow manure. So the best way to use the cow manure is that put it in a sack, tie it up, cocoa sack, tie it up, and put it into a 50-gallon of water for 1 week. All the nutrients will come, and use the liquid instead of using the manure raw.
So the same that you would do with the banana peeling, you could do with the manure. Awesome.
That's some good science there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so, and you make it sound so easy.
Just put it in a 50-gallon water and use the water. Easy. Sounds easy.
Indeed.
Yeah, but it will save you a lot.
It save you a lot of money.
Yeah, because I think, I mean, organic is the way to go. And organic was the way traditionally. Now these days they make it seem as if though organic is impossible or expensive, right? Just like they make it seem like eating healthy is an expensive thing, but it doesn't have to be if you're growing your food and you're growing it the right way. So in terms of organic, growing your food organically, you've mentioned clearly if you have like chickens and ducks and so on around, that will help because the manure from those animals will help with providing fertilization for your plants. But what else can be used to keep you from having to go to these companies that sell the fertilizer and insecticides and so on?
What again? The last part.
How to avoid having to go and buy the fertilizer and insecticides? How to get the organic sources that you need for the farm?
Well, you know, organic methods, they have tried their possible best to make sure that it's not written anywhere for you to quickly get your hands on. And so, for instance, if you know your soil is acidic, all what you need to do is to get white lime and throw it over there, and that will bring the acidic content low. If you have insects problem, you use madre cacao leaves, you use neem leaves, you grind it, just like I said, grind 1.5 pounds of madre cacao leaves or neem leaves and mix it with 2 ounces of white lime in 1 liter of water. And the amount that you will get should be used to mix it with 5 gallons and use it on your plants.
Wow.
So even wee you could control with that?
In terms of wee, it is, we have a service. Wee is tough to control.
Yeah,
but the only way you would do that is that get neem seeds and extract it. And that
oil? The oil,
we'll extract it with the oil in it, because the oil that will come will make the neem to stick to whatever you spray it on. So the oil from the neem will make it to stay there, and that will be difficult for them to carry it. If you have, and I will give you 3 methods. 1, whenever you eat oranges or banana and you have wee problem, leave them in a corner. All the wee-wees will go to the peels you left, and they will leave your plants. That is 1. 2, we have some flowers called it's like a sunflower, or they call it Mexican flowers. The leaves, once you get it and you grind it and spray it on your crops, when the wee come for the leaves and they take it into their nest, it contaminates all the food they have. And once it creates fungus, and when it contaminates it, it makes them to go hungry and they die.
Mass murder.
Look at that. Look at that. Okay.
That's some serious science.
Yes, man. Because they are the farmers' worst enemy, right?
Not really. The wee-wees are farmers too. And the neem is a lot more gentle than the homicidal approach that Mr. Nana's talking about.
Okay.
But I mean, they're both very effective. But the neem is more like a birth control because it keeps the outer part of their eggs from forming.
Okay.
So when they realize that the eggs are not going to hatch, they actually pick them up and move. And it's the same way that Nana was saying. It's because the neem is antifungal and antimicrobial and antiviral and all of that. It keeps the fungus, because that's what they're farming. It keeps it from growing. So they literally start to starve to death. So all of those plants are very good for controlling the wee-wee. So it's more like a control kind of thing than a massive killing, Marley. It's not mass murder. It's more like a control thing, and it's letting them know, hey, it's like you can't live here. You can't live
you have
here.
to go somewhere else. Just go to another location.
Else. Yeah.
And if you have a problem, apart from you can also use neem for fungus diseases. You can also use papaya leaves to control fungus. And
Angela is asking, what's the name of the flower that you're talking about for the wee-wee?
We call it Mexican flower. It's like the sunflower, but it is a wild ones.
I saw those recently. Like I was on the road and saw them. I was like, those are so beautiful, just wild yellow flowers growing out there. And
I will tell you the trick. Whenever you have wee-wee in a place, look at the plant they don't eat. That becomes their medicine.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So what are some of the other common pests that people, you mentioned that, of course, paying attention to the manure that you use is important, because if you use certain ones like the cow ones, then you're going to end up with a lot of the weeds. Right. So what other kinds of pests do we have to look out for?
You know, we have other I've forgotten that there is another type of grass that it comes, the roots have not, or the roots are long, and most of the time people go and buy soil, and when they take the soil, they go and put it in, and when they will see all the weeds, the grass will be growing. Is because they didn't check the type of soil they were buying. And also one thing I want people, based on the, these are some of the pests that you can think about. And also if you have too much grass or weeds and you want to control it, in some cases, you know, using warm water is too expensive. Using heat, you can put a plastic on it, they will die. You can also use vinegar with 3 teaspoons of liquid soap, but vinegar at 95% though. Vinegar at 95% strong. Mix it with 1 gallon, mix it with 3 liquid soap, mix it and use it to spray the grass, they will die.
The grass?
Yeah.
But not your plant. I mean, your plant won't die.
Well, no, make sure that it doesn't go close to the plant, so it will go too.
Yes.
That's why you have to make sure that you kind weed around it. And whenever you have soil and you want to know if your soil is rich, you use hydrogen peroxide to test your soil.
What happens when you what happens? You just pour the hydrogen peroxide on it, and if it fizzes, then you know it's good soil.
Let me tell you something.
Nana, tell them how to do it.
When you get a cut, you go for, I have got a hot cut and my hand is full up with germs. I go for hydrogen peroxide and I pour it, don't you?
Yes.
And when you pour it and you have germs, you see it bubbling, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
So you have a lot of microorganisms, isn't it?
Yes.
That same microorganisms are in the soil. So when I pour hydrogen peroxide and it doesn't bubble, means it doesn't have microorganisms which will make my soil rich.
Okay. Okay. Again,
That's the
noted,
easy way to test the
noted.
soil.
So bubbling
We're
soil
learning,
is
learning,
good,
we're
Nana?
learning.
With
Yes.
hydrogen peroxide.
Bubbling soil is good.
Once you have hydrogen peroxide on it.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good to know and duly noted. All right. So you were telling us last week that growing the neem, because it's such a, I would say, a dominant plant, right? It's dominant
Tough.
and it's you know, it has to have its space.
Yeah.
So while the moringa could grow with other things, yes. So if say you wanted to utilize them as fencing, you would have some distance between the neem, and then you could have the moringas spread among them. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that the neem is gonna grow tall and it's gonna be big, right?
Huge. Yep. And you know, once you hold a moringa branch, it will break easily, but the neem, it takes time.
Okay. And is it because I've heard that you could trim trees and that keeps them from growing tall? Would that work? Would that strategy work with neem?
It will work with the neem, and it also reduces the distance the roots will travel. So if it is close to your house, yeah, once you trim them, the strength you need and the nutrients you need to go into the roots will come out from the branches you cut. So instead of it pushing more, it won't be able to push more, it will push less.
Okay.
Okay, I see.
All right.
Interesting.
And so once you have those, you have the neem and the moringa on the farm, then those leaves become also useful for pest control and nutrients for other plants to grow. I think that's what Doc had mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
So neem and, I mean, anybody that's planning to plant, we know that those two are must-haves. And I heard you mention as well the Madre cacao. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, Madre cacao is a leguminous plant, and it also fixes nitrogen within the soil, but the leaves are also good for controlling bugs and insects.
Okay.
And
I've heard people use it for fencing, that it's also good to fence the farm.
People use it for fencing and fix nitrogen for you. And whenever you are making your compost, you can take some of the Madre cacao leaves and mix it with your compost. That will also enrich it. But you can also use it to cure. You can use it to cure insects. And once I said that if you use the end product after you sieve it, the end product, and remember I told you use 1.5 pounds of the leaves, grind it, and mix it with 2 ounces of white lime in 1 liter of water. And that 1 liter, when you get it, you mix it to 5 gallons to use it on your farm, wherever you want to use it. The end product, which is mixed with white lime, it is also a rodenticide. It kills rats.
Wow.
In Spanish communities, the Madre cacao is called mata raton, which means rat killer. And the reason the farmers used it they use it around their food crops to keep the vermins and the little guys coming in there eating their food. So yeah, he's right. It's a rodenticide.
Okay.
Wow.
I have a question here from Angela. It seems like moringa, on the other hand, will fall, or you cut it and it never dies. Quite often they grow taller than before. Is this correct? Is her question. about the moringa, how it will fall or you cut it and it never dies. Quite often they go taller than before. Is this correct?
It is, and the fact that it will multiply a lot.
So the more you cut it, the more it grows.
Yeah, the
You're
more
supposed
branches
to
you
prune
cut,
it. Yeah.
once you prune it or you cut
Yeah.
it, it was only one growing. But once you cut it, it may produce about 5 on the side.
That's amazing.
I seen that. I seen that already.
I mean, is somebody complaining about that? Is that a bad thing?
No. It's just amazing. I'm finding that
Yeah.
amazing, right? Because it's like, I'm here to stay, dude.
These plants want to help us. They're here to help us. We're the ones who turned against them.
Yeah.
But they're here to help us. Yeah.
Indeed.
And those who are listening in your house, if you are going to make beds to grow your vegetables, many people will ask you, how far should it be? How big it should be? All depends on the stretch of your arm. So if somebody tell you 3 feet and your arm is not 3 feet, please don't follow that person. Why do I say that? Is that whenever you are creating a bed, you have to stand on one side and stretch your hand and make a mark where your arm reach. From the edge of the bed, make a stretch your arm. Where it reach, make a sign. Where your wrist is, that is where you should make the sign. Then you go to the other side and do the same way to the opposite side and where your wrist reach. So in between that distance is how wide your bed should be. Why do we do that? That means when it is time to clean it, your arm can go across and pick up all the weeds you want to do. But some people make it big and they will have to walk on them. So you compact it and it becomes very difficult for the plants roots to go where they need to go because you have already stepped on them, or you may step on some of the whatever you have grown.
Yes.
And also we have 2 types of beds. We have the concave and the convex. Okay, let me say, like a depression, when we are in the drying season, you make your beds to hold water. In the rainy season, you make it for the water to run off.
Yeah. Correct. Okay. See, these things are not simple things. Well, not when you don't know it. When you don't know it, it's not that simple, right? So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was looking at a portion of the yard that there's a noni tree that's dying. So I want to get rid of it. And that area of the yard is where all the sun is coming now. You know, the sun direction is well, it's more to the south. Yeah. So that side of the yard is where I'm getting most of the sunshine, and the next side is not getting much sunshine at all. So I want to put the bed there because I want the plants to have sun. So that's why I'm glad. I appreciate you mentioning that, because I was standing in the yard yesterday and thinking, okay, I'll get rid of this noni tree and I'll put a bed here, and that way I could plant what I want. And now you are saying exactly how I should do that. So I appreciate you sharing that information. And I think that's something good for people to know. And even if they're in properties where it might be difficult to have a bed, then there's always the containers, you know, the buckets and jars and whatever that you could have on the veranda and grow things, grow food. So it's not impossible. Once you want to do it, it can be done. There are ways for it to be done, you know. So tell us a little bit more about preparing the beds and growing crops, because we're talking now about things that can grow in a 3-month time period and that you could grow in your yard. So even if you don't have a farm, this is something that you could be doing right where you live, right?
Well, you know, in terms of how long the bed can be, it all depends on you how long you want it. But the wideness is what I've told you, and the height, it can always be between 8. First, when you are make it 1 foot, because once water goes on it, it will reduce to 8 inches, and that should be okay.
Okay.
And make sure that you break up all the, if it is too much of clay, and you can also break it up, the physical property of it, but you can mix it with other type of, even your eggshells from your kitchen, you can use it to mix it up. So break it up and add some calciums to it. You can also mix it with any type of leguminous type of leaves, and that will help you to break it up. And it's always good to have a good drainage in your bed for that to happen. People like basically your backyard and stuff like that. Now that we are heading towards Christmas, sweet pepper become very expensive. So you have to know when to plant it to make sure that in December you don't fall into that gap, that expensive way of things. So you have to plant them. If it's 3 months, I have to make sure that I plant them 4 months before Christmas.
Yes, yes.
Then I will start to harvest that. And if also eggs are going to be scarce during Christmas time.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to make sure that your hens and this, you start raising your things for them to produce those things for you within Christmas. Because many people, because I don't want when maga season come, you complain. So make sure that you have all these things in place so that when maga season come, you don't feel the pinch.
No, not at all. Correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
and your backyard, you can have your chives, you can have your cilantro, culantro, okra, as well as if you have banana plantains, all these things you can plant it behind your house.
I want to make something. I just wanted to make.
If they, just quick thing, if the yard holds water in the back, then you're saying that banana and plantain can grow there.
If not, so, yeah, it can grow there. If not, so you have to make raised beds.
Okay.
And cocoa yam can also grow. I know you people call it cocoa. I call it cocoa yam.
Cocoa yam. I just want to make it really clear that Nana Mensah is part of the Wachari family. So he's not going to be able to do all of the training and teach everyone everything tonight. But you have some idea now about the seriousness with which we take this endeavor. And it's people like him that have made Wachari possible, and the kind of knowledge that is coming into Wachari and the type of trainers that we have. So I just wanted to make that very clear. This isn't the only time you're going to have access to him. Of course, we want to treat him with the utmost generosity and respect, so that when we have the training sessions and Nana comes to teach, you will come and attend, and not just grab all the freebies that we have here on this show.
And all those who live in it, most of the time I'm along there. Almost every week I travel through the Hummingbird to Maya Center. So whenever you have anything around that area, you need my help, let me know.
Yes, Nana.
It's free, of course, for all my Garifuna sisters and brothers. So
I still have you on the payroll, so.
Love it, love it, love it.
Not taking you out.
Much appreciated.
That's some good blessings, Nana.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Just to give you an idea of how serious. Yep, we're serious.
Well, we are down to our last 3 minutes. So any parting words for this very informative discussion that we have been having on planting and the importance of planting?
All what I would say is that whoever is listening to us, make sure today, tomorrow, if you can't, on Saturday, make a bed or plant a tree.
Make a bed or plant a tree. Love it. Marley?
Yeah. Very good show, Nana. I appreciate you taking time out to come and share with us. Give us some preliminaries, because I know you have more to share. But we leave that for the Wachari courses, where most people come and get this information. Just grateful that you are willing to come on and share with us. And to our listeners and followers, remember we have a YouTube channel, Wachari Nation Builders, and follow the Facebook page. And I'm good for tonight.
Thanks, Marley. Doc?
I am so good for tonight. Nana, it's been a pleasure. He's been working with us since 2016, all through 2017, through 2018 and 2019. So he has been there from he's part of the roots of
Yes.
Wachari and is an integral part of this endeavor. So thank you so much, Nana. I really feel like the family is complete now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Always, Sermon, and I learned so much from you tonight, and I really love these discussions. And there are so many people that are tuned in. Hubert Martinez says he loves you as well. I mean, this just our viewers really appreciate what we share here. And so we appreciate you too. All of you, thank you for your comments and for your questions and for sharing. And that's what we want to continue on this mission of nation building. So next week, we'll be right here again, talking some more about our mission to build this nation that we have. We have the right foundation for it. So let's just put our hands on deck, put our backs to it, and let's go. Let's build this nation because we deserve it. So good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody. And thanks for joining us tonight.
Ayo.
Ayo. Bye.